Quais as fontes de renda que garantem a manutenção de uma orquestra sinfônica? Como as instituições inovam e quais os desafios na captação de recursos? O terceiro episódio da temporada Orquestras apresenta estratégias de sustentabilidade de 6 orquestras do Brasil e do Reino Unido. Série Gestão Cultural Mundo Afora, mas uma troca de experiências sobre métodos e estratégias de gestão cultural está começando.
So the turnover of the orchestra is £10 million sterling, and that breaks down into maybe 5 categories. So there's £2 million from fundraising, development income. There is £2 million from government. Then we earn the rest, the 6 million we earn, which breaks evenly between ticket sales, international touring. We do a summer season at Glyndebourne, the opera festival. And then the rest is UK dates, some film work, some recordings, and they make up the final bit.
Aurora's annual income these days is around about £1 million UK. That's up from about £100,000 when I started back in 2009. So in the last 5-6 years, it's grown tenfold. The income comprises, I suppose, the following strands mainly. About 60% of that is earned income, so money that we earn through engagement fees, whether nationally or internationally, when a promoter engages the orchestra to perform. We get about 10% of our income through the Arts Council England, that's to say government funding. About 10% comes from individual friends and patrons of the orchestra, so about £100,000 a year from individual giving. And then the rest, the remaining 20%, is made up of grants from trusts and foundations.
The annual budget is between £8 and £9 million per year, depending on the amount of touring that we do any given year. So in a small year it's about £8 million, in a bigger year it's about £9 million. And the breakdown of the income streams this financial year is that 49% of the income comes from earned income, so from ticket sales in our main concert series here in Birmingham at Symphony Hall, and then from our touring fees in the UK and around the world. And then another 39% comes from public funding from the national government of the UK and from our local government in Birmingham. And the final 12% comes from donations, from private funders, from individuals, from charitable trusts and foundations, and from companies.
O orçamento global do programa na USBA, cuja principal formação é a Orquestra Juvenil da Bahia, gira em torno de 9 a 10 milhões de reais por ano. Tá? Desse recurso, 7 milhões vem através do contrato de gestão com o governo do estado, ou seja, é financiamento público estadual, e os outros 3 milhões são resultado de captação de recursos, de parcerias e de doações.
O nosso orçamento esse ano é um orçamento de 28 milhões de reais, para fazer face aos custos de pessoal, programação artística e custos administrativos. 65% do valor nós obtemos do próprio Estado através do nosso termo de parceria. Então, o termo de parceria garante quase a totalidade, 90% da nossa folha de salários, né? Então, 65% o termo de parceria. 20% é o que nós precisamos de ir ao mercado e captar. Então, eu tenho um desafio de captação hoje de pelo menos quase 6 milhões de reais, é captação através de Lei Rouanet. E a terceira fonte de recursos é a bilheteria, né? Que é a bilheteria, então, contando aí como 10% mais ou menos é bilheteria. Temos ainda um resíduo aí, que eu diria 5% de outras fontes, como, por exemplo, o programa que nós criamos de Amigos da Filarmônica, que são doações de pessoas físicas, né, que podem abater das suas doações até 6% do imposto devido, pode ser doado a um projeto cultural. Criamos o programa, temos tido êxito. Nesse primeiro ano tivemos 132 amigos, que já aportou também um pouco de recursos para o nosso orçamento.
Hoje, a Orquestra Sinfônica de Sergipe não possui outro tipo de recurso. Por quê? Porque ele é um órgão do governo do estado de Sergipe. Se não for através dessa forma de recurso, nós não temos de onde angariar. Mas nós fomos, como posso dizer, acometidos pela crise econômica e nossa verba de temporada foi mínima. Foi cerca de 50 mil reais para passar o ano inteiro.
Orchestras and arts organisations, which are registered charities, split out their income between contributed income and earned income. So, for example, with the London Philharmonic Orchestra, we have about a 20% grant from the government, and we say that for every £1 the government gives us, we raise another £4, and that additional £4 is raised through earned income, which is activities such as touring, recording, box office and engagements. And the last pound, if you like, the last 20% is development income.
Aurora basically generates its own revenues through engagement fees. At the moment, we don't directly take any box office income from any of our own series. It's all framed as a fee from the venue to the orchestra. So that although we have a vested interest in ensuring that our concerts succeed, because those fees can sometimes depend on the box office success of a concert, we don't directly take the box office. It's done by the venue that then pays us a fee.
A bilheteria das apresentações, também pela Orquestra Sinfônica ser um órgão do governo do estado de Sergipe, toda a bilheteria ela é destinada ao Fundo de Cultura do estado de Sergipe, que é vinculado à Secretaria do Estado de Cultura. E a partir disso, a Secretaria do Estado de Cultura administra todos os valores através da diretoria financeira e tudo mais de lá.
As principais fontes que nós temos é a venda de assinaturas, a venda de ingressos avulsos, venda de concertos para eventos fechados, né? E agora, com a Sala Minas Gerais, a possibilidade de locação da sala e receita de estacionamento. Mas isso só passou a compor a nossa receita a partir do ano passado, quando viemos para a Sala Minas Gerais. Dessa distribuição, 85% desse valor vem das assinaturas e das vendas avulsas. As outras fontes ainda entram de forma tímida para compor essa receita.
So, about 3 years ago, the British government announced that it wanted to encourage organisations like the CBSO to raise money for endowments, to create a long-term income stream from the private sector. And we were very lucky because we received a challenge grant from the Arts Council England, which said if we could raise £1 million from our private sector donors and funders, then the Arts Council would match that to make a £2 million endowment. And we were very lucky. We had about 50 very generous donors who supported us over the last 2 or 3 years to create that endowment. So we raised our £1 million and we got the matched £1 million from the Arts Council, and we announced in July last year that we'd been successful in doing that. So now we have this wonderful £2 million endowment which generates interest.
We're very lucky. We have some very supportive friends, and so we were able to pull on some of the most experienced investors in the city to advise us where we should put these funds to. Obviously very low risk. We don't want to risk the capital going down too much, but actually over a long period of time, the funds that we place them in, we're confident will bring in the returns on an annual basis to enable us to plan without eating into the core £2 million.
The London Philharmonic has 4 different membership schemes which range in entry point financially from £50 at the lowest up to the Thomas Beecham Group, which has £30,000 as its highest. And slotted into the middle is a scheme that we run called LPO Contemporaries. And Contemporaries is all about attracting younger people, young professionals to come to the orchestra, to enjoy our concerts, and to get used to the idea of philanthropy and giving.
So the membership programme has been going for a long time, and we have about 1,250 members at the moment, so well over 1,000 members. But we have people at all the levels in between, you know, relatively small amounts of money, but lots and lots of people giving, and small numbers of people giving a lot. And we give different levels of benefit for people who are supporting at those different levels. At the top end, you can have all sorts of benefits. As I've said already, you can support an individual member of the orchestra and to get to know that person. You can support specific concerts or projects that we're working on. You get signed copies of new CDs when we make them. We really look after the people who are able to support us at that sort of level.
E cada desse grupo de doadores recebe da Filarmônica alguma contrapartida, né? Todos eles têm os seus nomes publicados no nosso site, recebem uma carteira, né? Um cartão de amigo da Filarmônica. Estamos estabelecendo, por exemplo, com alguns restaurantes, acordos que o amigo da Filarmônica ele tem desconto em alguns estabelecimentos, então ao ser amigo ele tem esse benefício, algumas entradas nos concertos que são gratuitos, lugares especiais, lugares reservados, ou nos concertos comentados, que também é uma palestra que iniciou esse ano de 2016, é uma novidade na nossa programação.
In terms of specific examples of the kinds of fundraising activity that we do as an orchestra, I suppose the sorts of things that we've found most useful have been when we've been able to give funders something very tangible to get hold of that they can be excited by. So what we've effectively done is to encourage our donors to adopt an individual concerto. So they choose a concerto in the series, they adopt it for a particular donation, you know, an agreed sum, and in return for that they get direct access to artists, they get a signed copy of the score, they get access to the general rehearsal on the day, and they meet the artists. And we found that kind of initiative has worked very well, actually. I think people have found it exciting to feel like they're supporting a specific part of a big series.
We have recently instituted checkout donations, which came when we had a new database 18 months or so ago, and we now ask anybody who books a ticket for us if they would like to make a donation to the LPO of £3, £5, £9 or £15. This year we're saying if you make a checkout donation when you bought your tickets of £9, that will buy a ticket for a disadvantaged child from South London to come to one of our Bright Spark Schools concerts. And that's a really, really powerful message. You know, you've bought your ticket, now buy one ticket for a disadvantaged child. And we've had a really good take-up on that. So it's good in terms of income, but absolutely great in terms of PR and messaging for the charity.
The other thing that they have done more recently is actually ask the audience as a whole for money. So last year, the players ran an appeal in support of the orchestra, which raised over £50,000. They wrote to about 3,000 regular members of the orchestra, signed letters, so they hand-signed all these letters to regular audience members, and that generated, as I say, over £50,000. They spoke from the stage at concerts about why the orchestra needed their support, needed the audience's support. It was hugely successful and really lovely to feel that everyone was getting so involved.
What the musicians are is our access point. They are the ways the way that the organisation is humanised and goes from being that body corporate of 100 musicians on a stage to being humans with stories to tell and interesting facts to tell the donors and relationships to build.
Aurora's players are very involved in our development activity. I think they're becoming more involved and probably will continue to get more involved. A number of them have individual relationships with their own chair sponsors. So we have individual players who are sponsored by a particular patron, and those players get to know their individual patron quite well, and they see them from time to time during the year. Players also get behind individual fundraising campaigns that we do. So, for instance, we've just done a crowdfunding campaign online for a recording project, which involved support from players who were involved both in the film for the crowdfunding campaign, but also sharing that film with their own contacts and with their own networks. And often we find that players are quite a good tool for us in terms of introducing us to new people and the sorts of people who can over time become donors.
Hello, I'm Nick Collin. I'm the principal conductor of Aurora Orchestra, and I'm here to ask for your support in helping the orchestra to make its next recording.
We've been particularly lucky recently in the UK to have a new tax law, which means that if you give 10% of your estate at the end of your life, of your money and your assets, to charity at the end of your life, then the tax bill on your whole estate is reduced. So you pay less tax if you give a little bit of your money at the end of your life to charity. And quite a lot of people have signed up to give bequests not just to the CBSO but to all charities in the UK as a result of that development, which happened about 4 or 5 years ago.
Os principais meios de captação do NAJBA e, consequentemente, da Orquestra Juvenil da Bahia são através, assim, o carro-chefe é através de patrocínios privados, né? Assim, com e sem leis, né, de incentivo, seja federal ou estadual, mas eles correspondem a uma boa parcela do nosso recurso captado. Então, as captações de recurso, elas ajudam muito, mas não exatamente na manutenção, mas na expansão do programa. Nós temos atualmente 7 núcleos, que são os núcleos de prática orquestral e coral, em 4 cidades da Bahia, e cada um deles depende de captação de recursos, né? O recurso que mantém esses 7 núcleos não vem inteiramente do contrato de gestão. Então, existe uma participação muito importante, né, dos nossos parceiros, né, dos patrocinadores para a manutenção do NAJBA.
Mas o ano passado nós perdemos 2 importantes financiadores por questões econômicas que o país está passando. Mesmo eles tendo o interesse e o desejo de continuar, porque a parceria era muito boa para nós e para eles precisaram recuar porque eles não tinham mais recurso, né? Então, imagina se a gente dependesse só deles, como que ia ficar essa equação, né? Então, você tem que realmente procurar empresas que acreditam no que você está oferecendo, que entendem que é um processo contínuo, né? O que a gente faz é um processo contínuo, ele não pode ser cortado, né, em algum momento. E, com isso, manter o interesse dela, mesmo, né, em situações como essa, você tem um leque mínimo para poder se equilibrar.
So in contrast to individuals who receive a tax relief when they give philanthropically to the orchestra through what we call the gift aid scheme in the UK, Corporates receive no tax relief whatsoever, and that corporate tax relief was withdrawn by the government on sponsorship of charities around about 20 years ago in the late 1990s. So it's a real difference within the UK sector to how the fundraising sectors operate in America and in Brazil and in other countries where there is that relief. So we really have to sell the benefits very hard when we go to a corporate. You know, why would you support a charity? Why would you support an orchestra?
And it may be all sorts of other reasons why companies might support us, but there is always a business reason. It might be, for example, that they want to improve their staff engagement and that we can take musicians into their office to perform for them, or that they can bring their staff to our concerts at Symphony Hall. So there are all sorts of reasons why a company might support us, but there's always a business reason. It's not just a charitable gift in the way perhaps it would have been 20, 30 or 50 years ago.
A gente acredita que a vertente de captação através de pessoa física é o grande futuro da captação. É claro que a participação das empresas sempre vai ser muito importante, sempre vai ser essencial e sempre vai ser muito esperado, né? Assim que as empresas elas participem do desenvolvimento da sociedade, assim, né, de outras formas. E uma dessas formas é patrocinando projetos culturais ou sociais. Mas a gente coloca tanta atenção nas empresas e esquece do papel dos indivíduos também e como eles podem ajudar o desenvolvimento dessas instituições.
E a sociedade civil, eu acho que ela tem que acreditar e apostar e brigar por nós, né? Essa orquestra, eu acho que as orquestras, é das pessoas, né?
So amongst the very real challenges of fundraising for orchestras, I would rank as the highest the perception of orchestras as luxury brands and actually a luxury to society. We all know within the sector that orchestras do fantastic work in education, that they are very accessibly priced in terms of their tickets. They offer real public benefit. That dichotomy between the luxury brand and the charity in need of support is one of the really key challenges that we have in getting that message across.
O principal desafio, ou os principais desafios que nós temos para a manutenção de um programa como o Ujbá ou de uma orquestra como a Orquestra Juvenil da Bahia é cada vez mais, assim, é fortalecer esse caráter de política pública do programa, ou seja, de deixar claro que ele pertence à sociedade, que ele é um programa de governo e que ele deve ser, sim, abraçado pelas empresas como uma ação de responsabilidade social.
Os principais desafios para a sustentabilidade de uma orquestra, eles estão diretamente ligados a 3 personagens, que é o poder público, as empresas privadas e a sociedade civil. Eu acho que o grande desafio é você conseguir equilibrar essas 3 fontes de financiamento de uma forma em que, ao você perder uma ou outra, você não perca a sua condição de continuar trabalhando.
I think in terms of private sector fundraising, the challenges are twofold. Firstly, that so many more people, charities, are asking for money from individuals than was the case 10 years ago. So there is a risk that we get to a point where people feel so bombarded with requests for money that they aren't able to continue to increase their support for organisations like this one. I think that's one absolutely key challenge. And I think the other is more of an internal challenge. It's that organisations need to continually build their capacity to do fundraising well. And when I talk about capacity, I don't just mean staff, bums on seats in the office. I'm talking at a more general level about the things that organisations need to get right in order to fundraise successfully.
O maior desafio, primeiro, é financeiro. Que se aumente o recurso de alguma forma, porque a orquestra ela está numa situação emergencial em relação a isso. Ela está com salários completamente defasados, ela está precisando de verba artística, ela precisando de infraestrutura para os nossos músicos, melhores instrumentos que nós possamos, porventura, fornecer, alguns suprimentos. A falta de autonomia faz com que nós não consigamos estabelecer um bom staff administrativo capaz de captar recursos, capaz de batalhar, sabe? Levantar a bandeira da orquestra e ir para as empresas, ir para as indústrias, propor novos projetos, propor saídas, propor alternativas.
To a certain extent over recent years, even more problematic, I think, for many organisations has been the local authority cuts, huge local authority cuts over recent years, which have, in some cases, left local authorities cutting their culture programmes altogether. So local authorities who had previously had quite active cultural programmes and had spent a lot on a local venue or an orchestra have completely stopped funding those bodies. And I think you have to basically just have faith that the strength of your artistic programme is appealing enough that it can generate the interest that you need to generate those funds.
Where is the future of orchestras? They have long been highly regarded institutions, but I think the journey that the orchestra is going on at the moment is moving away from the image of the 100 stuffed shirts on the stage. And of course we will still give concerts, that will be the very heart of what we do, but increasingly we are messaging what is an orchestra in the 21st century, and where do you hear orchestras in the 21st century, and what would orchestras, or would the 21st century be like without orchestras and without music in it?
But it is challenging. Government funding is unlikely to increase. Ticket prices we try and keep low, so we're not going to get significantly more from that. International touring is getting more challenging as our international promoters are finding things difficult in their own countries. So really the only growth on income realistically is in fundraising, and everybody is looking to increase fundraising. It's getting much more competitive. So that is a challenge.
So I think we need to be thinking, if we want to remain a meaningful organisation, all our orchestras need to be thinking, how can we get our music out to a mass audience around the world in this age, which is an age that's gone beyond the record industry? And I think that's a great challenge for the next few years.
Neste episódio da temporada Orquestras da série Gestão Cultural Mundo Afora, conhecemos os desafios e as inovações das orquestras na área de captação de recursos. Você conhece outras estratégias de sustentabilidade? Conte pra gente, deixe o seu comentário e participe deste diálogo sobre gestão cultural. E não esqueça de compartilhar o conteúdo nas suas redes sociais. O próximo episódio é dedicado à programação artística das orquestras. Acompanhe!